How does the selection process work? Part 2. The second stage of the selection process relies on tests called substantive selection devices to evaluate the match between applicants' qualifications and the requirements of the job. The most qualified applicants move on to the next stage, while the least qualified are rejected. Examples include written tests, performance simulation tests, and structured interviews. The first category, written employment tests, measures applicants' job-relevant knowledge, skills, abilities, and other characteristics, KSAOs. Employers use tests of cognitive ability, knowledge areas, personality, and integrity to assess applicants' fit with the job. The major disadvantage of these tests is low face validity, meaning applicants don't see their connection to the job. As a result, applicants may see these tests as unfair. Although applicants don't like them, the research is clear that they are useful predictors of performance across industries. Applicants who score higher on relevant dimensions are more likely to be better performers on the job. Cognitive ability tests measure the capacity to reason, plan, and solve problems. These tests measure a variety of intellectual abilities, including spatial and mechanical abilities, and perceptual accuracy. The sample items shown here are from the Wonderlic test. These tests are especially strong predictors of performance in jobs that require cognitive complexity, but they are known to be biased against some groups. Knowledge tests measure applicants' understanding of the job and the information needed to do the job well. These tests assess declarative knowledge, knowing what, and procedural knowledge, knowing how, using multiple choice and essay items that are tailored to the job. Examples include your course exams and the written driver's license test. Personality tests measure stable patterns of behavior. Extroversion and conscientiousness tend to be predictive across many jobs and industries. Screen-in personality tests identify normal personality and can be administered as pre-employment tests. Screen-out personality tests identify psychopathology and can only be administered after an offer of employment. Integrity tests measure dependability, carefulness, responsibility, and honesty. Overt integrity tests ask direct questions about applicants' past behaviors and attitudes related to honesty. How often do you tell the truth? How many people cheat on their income taxes? Personality-based integrity tests infer honesty from broad personality constructs like conscientiousness. Do you like taking risks? How often do you make your bed? Performance simulation tests assess applicants' ability to do the most important or critical parts of a job. The best-known performance simulation tests are physical ability tests, work samples, assessment centers, and situational judgment tests. Although these tests are more complicated to develop and administer than written tests, they have higher face validity and predictive validity and are more difficult to fake. Let's start with physical ability tests, which assess applicants' ability to meet the physical demands of the job. Multiple abilities are often assessed simultaneously, including those related to strength, balance, endurance, and speed. Firefighter cadets, for example, must complete a stairway climb. They wear fire protective clothing and air tanks while carrying pieces of equipment up 3 flights of stairs. These tests may disadvantage some groups and should be assessed for employment discrimination. Older applicants may be at a disadvantage due to their natural loss of muscle, stamina, and flexibility. Work sample tests attempt to measure whether applicants can do some aspects of the job in a realistic environment. Computer programmers could take a programming test. An air traffic controller could take a map reading test. Assessment centers are collections of tests or activities that require applicants to behave in a job-like environment. They're usually administered to groups, and trained raters evaluate their behaviors, like how they interact with others or how they solve problems. The inbox exercise is an example. Applicants must prioritize and complete the items in an imaginary inbox that is designed to represent a typical workday. These tests are especially useful for hiring and promoting managers. Situational judgment tests ask applicants how they would perform in a variety of job situations. They are just as predictive as assessment centers, but with fewer costs, making them the preferred choice for many jobs. However, they are easier to fake than other performance simulation tests. Despite its popularity, the unstructured interview, which is short, casual, and random, is not predictive of performance. Without structure, interviewers tend to favor applicants who share their attitudes and give undue weight to negative information and factors unrelated to the job. Structured interviews ask the same questions in the same order, and applicants' responses are rated using the same methods. They focus on KSAOs, personality, and person-job fit. They have high face validity, are valid predictors of many outcomes in many industries, and allow applicants to gather information about the job and the organization. However, to be effective, interviewers need to be trained. Panel interviews are structured interviews that use multiple interviewers to assess applicants. By combining the ratings of multiple people, we can form a more accurate representation of each applicant. Structured behavioral interviews ask applicants to describe how they handled specific problems in the past. Tell me about a time when you made a mistake. What did you do about it? When was the last time you gave feedback to an employee who was not performing up to standards? What did you do? Applicants are encouraged to answer these questions using the STAR method by describing the situation, the task or problem, the action they took, and the results of their actions. The final hurdle of the selection process relies on contingent selection devices that provide a final check on applicants' qualifications either before or after a job offer is made. Applicants who pass these tests receive job offers, while those who fail these tests are rejected. Examples include drug tests and medical exams. Drug tests measure traces of prohibited substances in samples of urine, hair, saliva, blood, or breaths. Their greatest strength is that they are the most difficult test to fake, but they are also one of the most expensive to administer. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled that, in most cases, drug tests are not invasive. In fact, they are common in the public safety and transportation industries. Medical exams are another type of contingent selection device. They are used to determine whether an applicant is physically or mentally healthy enough to do the job. Under the Americans with Disabilities Act, employers can only use these tests after making a contingent offer. Once hired, managers monitor employees' job performance, the topic of the second half of this module.